In Lagos, danger doesn't knock. It enters like it belongs there. Because in Lagos, danger doesn't always come from the streets. Sometimes, it comes from your living room. Sometimes, it eats at your table. Sometimes, it laughs with you like family. Sometimes, it calls you my daughter. And you smile back. Not knowing that the same arms hugging you are also the arms preparing your burial. My name is Zainab Balogun. And the enemy in my family was not a stranger. She was family. She was my stepmother. Her name was Auntie Ronk. And she didn't enter our house with horns. She came with perfume. With prayer points. With fake tears. And with a smile so soft, you would never suspect it was hiding a knife. A smile that could make even the devil feel innocent. It started on a night Lagos was raining heavily. The kind of rain that makes the third mainland bridge look like it's floating. The kind of rain that turns street lights into blurry stars. I was inside a Danfo bus, soaked, holding my bag tight, trying not to make eye contact with anyone. Because Lagos people can smell weakness. My phone was vibrating non-stop. 15 missed calls. All from my younger brother, Tond. I finally picked up. Z. Where are you? He shouted. Tond, calm down, I'm coming. What happened? His voice cracked. It's Daddy. Daddy collapsed. The Danfo driver shouted Oshodi. Oshodi, like life was normal. But my world stopped moving. My father, Chief Balogun, the same man who built half of our street in Suralere, collapsed. My chest tightened. Tond, what hospital? Lagos University Teaching Hospital. They said it's serious. I didn't even remember paying my fare. I jumped down into the rain and ran. By the time I got to the hospital, my clothes were soaked like I jumped into lagoon water. The smell of disinfectant hit me first. Then the sound of crying. Then I saw my brother. Ton was pacing like a madman, his hands on his head. His eyes were red. When he saw me, he ran and held my shoulders. Z, they said it's stroke. My throat went dry. I turned and saw her. Standing near the hospital wall, calm like she was waiting for a taxi. Auntie Ronk. My stepmother. She wore a black wrapper and blouse, her gilly perfectly tied, her face shining like she had already rehearsed this moment. She looked at me and opened her arms. My daughter. I didn't move. Not because I didn't want comfort, but because her eyes didn't match her voice. Her voice sounded soft, but her eyes looked satisfied. She held me anyway. Her perfume mixed with hospital smell. And for a second, I felt cold. Not from the rain. From her. The doctor came out around 2 a.m. A tired-looking man with glasses, holding a fire. He looked at us like he was carrying bad news in his mouth. Are you family of Chief Balogun? Yes, I said quickly. He sighed. He suffered a major stroke. We stabilized him, but his condition is critical. Ton started crying immediately. I couldn't cry. Not yet. My eyes were stuck on Auntie Ronk. Because she didn't flinch. She didn't gasp. She didn't even look shocked. She simply nodded slowly, like someone hearing a result they already knew. The doctor continued. He may not survive the next 48 hours. That was when my legs almost gave out. But Auntie Ronk grabbed my arm. Zainab, be strong, she whispered. Her nails pressed into my skin. Hard. Like a warning. Around 3 a.m., I went to the hospital bathroom to wash my face. The mirror was cracked. The sink water was brownish. Typical public hospital. I splashed water on my face and looked up. And I froze. Behind me, I saw a figure. A man. Tall. Standing in the corner of the bathroom. I turned sharply. Nobody. My heart was beating like a drum. I faced the mirror again. And the figure was still there. But this time, I recognized him. It was my father. Not lying on a hospital bed. Not unconscious. But standing upright. With bloodshot eyes. His lips moved slowly. He wasn't speaking aloud. But I heard his voice inside my head. Zainab, don't trust her. My breath caught. Daddy. I whispered. The mirror suddenly went dark. The light flickered. Then everything returned to normal. I stumbled backward, shaking. The bathroom door opened. Auntie Ronk walked in. She stared at me. Why are you shaking? She asked softly. I forced a smile. Nothing. I am fine. She walked closer. Her eyes locked on mine. You must not allow fear enter your heart, she said. Then she smiled. But her smile looked like a blade. I met Auntie Ronk when I was 15. My mother had been dead for 2 years. Cancer. Slow death. The kind that kills you before you even die. My father was lonely. So when Ronk entered our lives, everybody celebrated. She was beautiful. Always dressed like a senator's wife. She spoke softly. She prayed loudly. She cooked jollof rice that tasted like wedding food. People called her a blessing. But I noticed something early. The first week she moved in, she went into my mother's room. She came out holding my mother's framed photo. She stared at it for a long time. Then she smiled and said, she was lucky, but luck expires. That was the first time I felt cold around her. But I ignored it. Because I was a child. And I wanted peace. By morning, relatives started arriving. Uncles, aunties, cousins that had not called in years. Typical Nigerian family. They came with sympathy and hidden hunger. My father was still unconscious. But already, people were whispering. Who will inherit the properties? Did he write a will? What about the Lekki land? I sat beside Tond. Then I heard Auntie Ronk's voice behind me. She was talking to my father's lawyer, Barrister Kola. Yes, I know he has a will, she said calmly. But we must do things properly. Barrister Kola nodded. We will wait until the doctor confirms his condition. She sighed dramatically. God forbid anything happens, but I must protect what my husband built. Protect. That word annoyed me. Because she said it like the house belonged to her. Like my father didn't have children. I stood up and walked to them. Good morning, Barrister, I said. He looked uncomfortable. Oh, Zainab. Sorry about your father. I nodded. Then I looked at Ronk. Auntie, what will? She smiled politely. Your father wrote it years ago. My stomach tightened. Because my father never mentioned a will. Not once. Ronk leaned closer and whispered. Don't worry, my daughter. Everyone will get what they deserve. Her voice was sweet. But the word deserve sounded like a threat. That evening, I stepped outside the hospital to breathe. The air smelled like suyo smoke and exhaust fumes. A woman was selling snacks near the gate. Gala. Groundnut. Pure water. I bought pure water. As I drank, the woman stared at me too long. You are Chief Balogun's daughter, she said. I paused. Yes. She leaned forward. Your father did not fall by ordinary sickness. My heart jumped. What do you mean? She looked around like someone afraid of walls. Evil entered his house. It entered through marriage. My fingers tightened on the sachet water. Who are you? She shook her head. Not important. But listen to me. She pointed at the hospital building. The person crying loudest is the person holding the knife. Before I could respond, a bus honked loudly. I turned for 1 second. When I looked back, the woman was gone. Like she evaporated into Lagos noise. I stood there, frozen. Because deep inside me, I knew she was right. That night, I slept on a plastic chair. My neck bent awkwardly. But exhaustion defeated discomfort. And then the dream came. I was standing in our house in Sorale. But the house was empty. The walls were black. The air smelled like burning hair. Then I heard chanting. Low. Deep. I walked toward the living room. And I saw Auntie Ronk kneeling in front of a calabash. Inside the calabash was a red liquid. Blood. She held a photo. It was my father's photo. She dipped the photo into the blood and whispered, "Let him sleep forever. Let his children scatter. Let his wealth enter my hand." My mouth opened, but I couldn't speak. Then she turned slowly and looked directly at me. Her eyes were not human. They were white, empty. And she smiled. "Zainab, you were not supposed to see this." I screamed and woke up sweating. My heart was racing. The hospital lights were still on. People were sleeping. But something was wrong. Because in the real world, Auntie Ronk was standing near the window, staring at me, as if she had been watching me sleep. The next morning, Barrister Kohler called me. His voice was low, cautious. "Zainab, can you come outside? I need to speak with you privately." My stomach dropped. I stepped outside. He looked around before talking. "This is not official, but your father changed his will recently." My throat went dry. "Changed it to what?" He hesitated. "Your stepmother is now the major beneficiary." My blood ran cold. "What about me and Tond?" He sighed. "You are still included, but not like before." I felt my knees weaken. "That's impossible. My father would never." Barrister Kohler interrupted. "Zainab, listen. The signature looks like his. But..." He lowered his voice further. "But the date is strange. It was signed on a day he was not even in Lagos." My heart pounded. "So it's fake." He swallowed. "I didn't say that." Then he leaned closer. "Be careful. This is bigger than family drama." I turned to go back inside. And there she was. Auntie Ronk. Standing behind the glass door. Smiling. She had heard everything. I stormed inside immediately. Ton was asleep. Relatives were gossiping. I walked straight to Auntie Ronk. "Auntie Ronk," I said quietly. Her smile widened. "Yes, my daughter. Did you make Daddy change his will?" The entire room became silent. Even the nurses paused. Ronk's eyes remained calm. She stepped closer. Then she slapped me. A sharp slap. So loud my ears rang. I touched my cheek slowly. My body was shaking. She leaned close enough for only me to hear. "Don't embarrass yourself in public," she whispered. Then she smiled at everyone. "My children, grief is making her talk nonsense. Please forgive her." My uncle cleared his throat awkwardly. Some people nodded. Like she was the victim. I stared at her. And for the first time in my life, I realized something. This woman was not just wicked. She was strategic. She had already won half the battle. Because she had the family on her side. And she had money on her side. And whatever dark thing she was using was already working. That night, the doctor called us. Chief Balogun was awake. Barely. His eyes were half open. His breathing was weak. The whole family gathered around him like vultures around food. But Auntie Ronk pushed forward first. "My husband, my love." She started crying loudly. My father's eyes shifted slowly. And stopped on me. I stepped closer. "Daddy." His lips trembled. He struggled to speak. Everyone leaned in. Then he whispered something. very faint. Only I heard. Under the bed, my room, the brown envelope. His eyes widened suddenly. His hand jerked. Then the heart monitor started beeping violently. Nurses rushed in. Everybody out. Out. They pushed us out like useless luggage. And behind the glass, I saw Auntie Ronk. She wasn't crying anymore. She was staring at my father's body with an expression of irritation, like someone whose plan was delayed. That night, I couldn't sleep. Daddy's words kept replaying in my head. Under the bed, my room, the brown envelope. I knew what I had to do before Ronk did. So I left the hospital quietly, took a boat ride straight to Suralaya. The house looked normal, but the compound gate felt heavier, like it was guarding secrets. I entered the living room. The air was cold. Too cold. I walked to Daddy's room. His door creaked open slowly. Inside, everything smelled like his cologne. I went straight to the bed. I knelt down and reached under. My fingers touched something rough. Paper. I pulled it out. A brown envelope. Thick. Heavy. Then I heard a voice behind me. Soft. Calm. Deadly. Zainab. I froze. I turned slowly. Auntie Ronk was standing in the doorway. She wasn't wearing her usual wrapper. She was wearing a long black nightgown. Her hair was loose. Her eyes looked darker than normal. She smiled and said, "I warned you not to go digging." The lights flickered. The room became colder. And behind her, I saw shadows moving on the wall. Not her shadow. Other shadows. Like people standing behind her. But there was nobody there. My hand tightened on the envelope. And Ronk took one step inside. "One way or another," she whispered, "you will drop that envelope." Her voice changed. It sounded like two voices at once. And in that moment, I realized. This wasn't just family wickedness. This was something else. Something spiritual. Something ancient. And it had entered our house wearing lipstick.